When was the last time you had a real conversation with your best friend? My guess, if you're a normal person, is days ago. And I bet even then the only mode of communication you would have used be via memes or funny videos on one of the many social media platforms. There's nothing wrong with it, I'm one of you guys. Here's the thing, once upon a time, an intellectual told us that a picture paints 1,000 words. Little did we know that today we'd also be using his words to describe visuals that are shared by millions and gazillions of people irrespective of their race, color, devotions and spiritual affiliations. That's how much power visuals hold. And this is exactly why today, businesses are head over heels investing billions of dollars into visual marketing. Can your healthcare business survive without visuals? Is it possible to generate a hefty ROI without using them? These are the questions that we will be targeting in today's podcast. For the record, I am Abhi Cool, CEO of Marketing Win Healthcare, and today we're going to sink deep into the whirlpool that is visual marketing. While more than half of our population is hung up on gulping down entertaining content, only a few individuals seek out informational stuff of their own free will. If you think about it, how many of us actually plan to read everything word by word while we tighten our shoelaces for our day-long scrolling mission? No one really. So to contain clients and wider audiences, visual marketing for your business holds the same importance as morning coffee for Americans, internet connectivity for millennials, and fireworks for the 4th of July. And this is for any normal business. When it comes to healthcare marketing, you can just double down on the severity of it. Let's just say that without getting the hang of using visuals for your marketing content, your business will be as good as the leftover turkey a week from Thanksgiving. Nobody's gonna want to even go near it. In a world where people are only attracted, enticed and impressed by the things they see, also known as the book covers, which we're not supposed to judge, you can't simply imagine running a business without them, let alone count on any ROIs. The importance of visual marketing and healthcare branding is a crucial one, and here's why. Imagine walking into a room full of people with no facial features. No eyes, no nose, no mouth, nothing. Just a bunch of no faces. 1. You won't be able to recognize anyone. 2. You wouldn't know who to trust. And 3. You'd probably end up having nightmares for days. But that right there is the reason. You see, visuals give you a unique identity. Just look at how much money people throw at Chanel, Gucci, Balenciaga, and Louis Vuitton. Creating a brand when you belong to healthcare is just as important. In fact, people should be able to connect to what you represent just by looking at your logo. And we'll tell you exactly how to do that. Here's the thing, people like to know who they can trust, who has the most success stories, and who uses the best methods and how. But what they will never do is run elaborate research to compare figures, stats and facts to find out who is actually worthy of this trust. Instead, they'll just leave it up to Google. So whoever shows up in the first search results wins. But what if I told you that there is a possibility that you can achieve vast popularity, increase your brand awareness and get thousands of new customers ready to take a chance on you, and all that just by focusing and investing in visual marketing? If you're interested to find out how, I suggest you take your floral notepad out and get ready to take some notes. Now usually when we think about utilizing visuals, the only thing that crosses our mind is using pre-made images which we use by typing on headings in the most unusual of fonts, and that's about it. We do this whether it's a blog or something else we're posting on social media. Or the most entertaining thing that we are willing to bring to the table is the free stock images that have zero stories to them. Heck, most of us don't even bother to hire a graphic designer because the web development guys have some tricks up their sleeves that you can use. This is exactly why businesses lack that certain pizzazz to entice their audiences. How about instead of serving the content as is, we drop in some sprinkles, whipped cream, cherries, and glaze too? Here's what I mean. When you sit down to write a blog post, article, or power page, how about instead of using plain images, you use something that paints 1,000 words or something that tells a story? I'm talking colorful infographics, customized icons, visual charts, GIFs, screenshots, and most importantly memes. Believe me, if you do this, you have a chance to connect with your audience on an insane level, as these are exactly the type of visuals they're so obsessed with seeing and understanding on a daily basis. Think about this, people share millions of images and memes each and every day just because they contain stuff that they can relate to. It doesn't even have to be only funny. Just relatable and informational enough. So if you truly grasp what your target audience is interested in, you can leverage that information to connect with them. The other thing is that whatever you write should have the quality of becoming foundational material for multiple platforms. Here's what I mean. The images you prepare for your written material should tell a story on their own. So much so that they can be used by your shoulder niches as well. For example, let's say I run an eye clinic. Now my website will be full of blogs containing informational content and probably some promotional stuff as well. Well, one day I happened to create a phenomenal infographic that tells the story of how the blue light from our cell phones has been damaging our eyesight for years, and it also has a comparison of how people in the past hardly ever got any glasses at all. So this infographic is not just useful for me and my readers, but it also helps eyeglasses brands create anti-glare glasses or laptop and cell phone brands to create night modes or anti-blue light screen protectors, and they can most certainly use my infographic to relate to this uprising issue. So here I am standing with open arms ready to receive my quality backlinks. And this works for every single visual you use in your blogs, videos, and social media. Alright, the other type of visuals you can and should create includes slideshows and presentations. And let me tell you why that's pure gold. No matter what healthcare field you belong to, there are always going to be students that are interested in your field, and your website or your business can become the greatest resource for them. Now, these slides and presentations don't have to be too lengthy or detailed if you don't have the time, but again, they should be informational, relative, and visually appealing so they're willing to share them or use them during a college presentation. FYI, you can share all of these visuals on Pinterest as well. Alright, next on the list is the UI and UX that you use on your websites and applications. You tell me, how often do you buy food from a shop that is not just shady in appearance, but the owner also looks pretty questionable, and if all that wasn't enough, he takes forever to bring out your food, and even then it's just meh? Probably never. And even if you do it once, chances are you won't ever again. In the same way, your website or application is the first point of interaction for thousands of potential customers. Too slow or tacky, and you will never see them again. However, if you manage to pull something remarkable off, they'll hand you their money, just like that. The last type of visual that I think is a must is videos. And I cannot stress it enough. And if you're always wondering what type of videos tend to get millions of views, keep your pants on, as we're just a few minutes away from discussing just that, specifically. Do note that when I say videos, I do not mean the ones where you see animated graphics flying about. That stuff is only good for introductions. I am talking about proper videos where people know who they're working with, how and where they will be treated, etc. The problem with using free graphics in videos is that people are so used to watching them being used by everyone everywhere that they are no longer impressed by it. Instead, try using your real-life subjects and recruits that can give off a more confident and professional vibe that people dig so much. The bottom line is that if you want to create something that people are most likely to share, it should contain something that plays on their emotions and gains empathy, and what better way to do that than to use visuals? Another reason this always works is that people are most likely to share stuff they feel connected to, or something that shows the benefits of a product/service that can actually help someone with something. See, visuals have storytelling capabilities that can help you catch more views if you know the art of creating clickbaits and share triggers. Think about it, how many times we've all fallen prey to clicking on something that appears to be one thing but turns out to be something else entirely when we click on it? That's the power of visuals. Alright, coming to the categories of video content that you can produce, number 1 on my list is educational and informational content. The reason I keep this one on the top is, for 1, your shoulder niches can relate to it, 2, you are marketing this content to diversity, and 3, it's something that can be used for a very long time. Which means it's a good investment. Imagine, you need to get a root canal. The first thing you're going to do is find out what on God's earth is a root canal. Okay, you probably already know what it is. Then how about a more serious surgical procedure that you know nothing about? You're going to look it up on the internet. What it is, why you need one, how it's done, what happens next, etc., etc. Thing is that the rise in the use of videos is on another level these days. People like to prepare for what's coming, and educational or explanatory videos help them understand these processes better. I'm not gonna lie to you, if you create quality informational videos related to your niche, they're most likely to be watched by a majority of people for a very long time. Coming back to the list, the second one I have is videos related to your product or maybe a service demonstration. Okay, so let's say I have found out what root canal is. While I dread needing one, The next thing I'm going to do is look for where I can get one. And while most of the dentists out there have embellished goody-goody websites, they don't show me where the procedure will take place or how they're keeping their instruments sanitized and 100 other things. And then there's your website, where I actually get to see the doctors, the facility, the tools, the procedure, and everything else. And I suddenly feel like we're already connected, so I choose you. Okay, so, number 3 is kind of an important one. And the reason I say this is because it shares the success story of your healthcare business. Here's why it works. Testimonial videos are a great way of converting people. For one, when prospective customers get valuable insights from the actual customers, it acts like a final nail in the coffin. 2, the more positive reviews you record, the more people are likely to trust you with their health. And 3, it helps build an emotional connection. Here's a bonus tip: if your client allows, you can record the before, during, and after videos as well. The only reason I think this works well is that I have often found myself looking at a random transformational video of a young girl who was bullied at school because of her overspaced or overjet teeth at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I wanted to see how everything turned out to be. And I literally have nothing to do with it. My teeth are as perfect as Chris Evans's. Alright, not as perfect as his, but you get the point. Bottom line is, building an emotional connection is important. The last type of video you can create includes behind the scenes. Now when I say behind the scenes, you need to understand that the intent behind this one is to create a human connection. Let's go back to the root canal one last time. This is the last time, I promise. There's one doctor in scrubs and a surgical mask. For all you know, he could be the janitor and nobody would even have the slightest clue. And then there's Dr. X. You know that he's married, has a kid, and has performed this surgery multiple times, that too with happy clients. Who could you prefer? The suspicious janitor/doctor or the humble, experienced Dr. X? Backstories can help your patients create a human connection with you, which is great for your business. Here's the thing, being in the medical industry has the biggest advantage when it comes to the audience. With the rising depression, inflation, and world crisis, you will always have patients to tend to, and that just widens your audience. Jokes apart, if you keep producing such entertaining and informational content, no one can stop you from getting millions of views. A living and breathing example of this is a Russian-American doctor, known as Dr. Mike Varshavsky, who literally has millions of followers on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. The thing is that even if your physical business is not bombarded with foot traffic, be certain that creating such visual content will most certainly generate revenue from these platforms. Look at what happened after COVID, and how businesses still managed to thrive. Finally, let's look at how all of this hard work will help your business stay alive and kicking even during situations like pandemics. 1. It will keep your current audience engaged and definitely attract new ones. 2. Given that you adhere to the above-mentioned tips and tricks, you will get more likes, shares, and follows, even from people not related to your niche. 3. The better you're able to build a visual empire, the more people will be willing to trust your brand. 4. The more time people spend going through your content, the better you rank, courtesy of the all-seeing Mother Google. And 5. You will end up having more conversions, thus resulting in a greater ROI. Listen, it all comes down to how passionate you are about your healthcare business, and how badly you want to educate your people, help them and connect with them through the things they already like. Rest assured, everything you have come to learn through today's podcast is effective, applicable, and scalable. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for listening to our 3rd episode. See you in another one real soon.